Morning, sewer babies.
Hey everybody, Stacks here. Welcome back to the channel, guys. Today I'm checking out Hellions #1 by Zeb Wells. Stephen Segovia is your artist and David Curiel is your color artist. Before we get started though, if you haven't yet, take a second to get up top there, jam that subscribe button, and we'll get on with the video. So the book kicks off with the mutants launching a preemptive strike against a group that was planning a terrorist attack against mutants to celebrate the anniversary of the mutant massacre. Well, the mutants quickly eliminate any threat, and this group is actually called the Hellfire Cult, which is nothing to do with the Hellfire Trading Company. But we find out that they had all kinds of munitions and military-grade weaponry that they were going to use in this attack. And we find out through the conversation between Havok and Nightcrawler that Havok is very much of the mindset that all humans are out to get mutants, basically. And Nightcrawler chimes in with a, look, it's dangerous to assume they're all out to get us, Havok. And Havok snaps right back with a, are you trying to teach me? Did I just stumble into one of your Bible studies? And right after this, there's a rocket that comes out of nowhere and blows them both all over the place. Well, their attackers move in and we find out real quick that Nightcrawler is out, but Havok's trying to get to his feet and he catches a kick right to the rib. Well, a couple of these knuckleheads think it's going to be a good idea to taunt Havok, and, well, let's just say it blows up in their face. He reaches up with his right hand, blasts the two on his right, seems to blow their arms off, and then with the other guy, grabs him by the head and just starts cooking his face. And there is absolutely no doubt that he is going to kill this guy, when suddenly, out of nowhere, Wolverine throws a shoulder to him and tells him, stop, you can't kill him. And Rockslide's sitting there holding him back. Siren's sitting there saying, oh, I can smell the flesh, And he just hangs his head. He's like, what are you looking at me like that for? And he just holds his head and says, what did I do? From there we jump to the Quiet Council, where the council is formed to discuss what we're going to call the inconvenient mutants. The ones who, they do not behave right on the island. For whatever, they are mentally broken. And Mr. Sinister actually sets the standard here. He's like, look, if I have to behave, everyone does. Throw them in the pit. But the question is finally asked, what do we do with them? And then you have standing before them, you have Orphan-Maker and Nanny, you have Scalphunter, Wildchild, and Empath. And then lurking in the back, you have Havok. And Empath is sitting there saying, look, I don't even know why I'm here right now. I was just having fun. And then with that, we begin our Suicide Squad montage as we walk through each of the team members and find out why they're here, right? It begins with Empath, who's using his empathic ability to manipulate people into blood sport, basically. And he's just going around the island just having people fight each other and just, having a good time with it too. And there's actually a white page that goes into why his particular situation is so complicated. And it all has to do that while growing up, the things that we react to, are really based on emotional feedback from our peers, or at least to some degree. There should still be that moral compass, that driving force inside of us all that can decipher between right and wrong. I still believe that exists, but anyways, we'll keep going. But specific to Empath and to this storyline that we're going with here. Well, if he hurt a friend or they teared up, that would give us shame and make us feel bad for it. Well, he would just fix it, he would be like, oh, you're happy, you're fine, whatever. So that's allowed him over time to get away with horrible, horrendous stuff and treat people horribly and never suffer any of the consequences. So this has just led to him being this horrible individual. Now the real debate here comes back down to the X gene, because the X gene wasn't given to a violent sociopath. The X gene, through this process, actually managed to create a violent sociopath. So what do you do in this mutant society when you have these individuals who the expression of their mutant ability is intrinsically antisocial? I mean, what do you do with these people? From there we jump over to Orphan-Maker, who is absolutely just blasted beast right across the jaw while Angel jumps on his back telling everybody else to run because, well, Orphan-Maker doesn't want to take a nap. Period. Well, Angel should have taken his own advice, because Orphan-Maker just grabs him and fastball specials him right into the concrete, and his beast finally pulls himself up off the ground. He's like, Peter, you need to learn how to take care of yourself. You are a big boy. And he just takes and headbutts him right in the nose and just says, I want my nanny. And at that point, Hank's had enough. He's like, fine, just let her out. And she comes forward and grabs him. It's Peter! And he's like, these goobers said I couldn't see you anymore. Nonsense. You're my baby boy. Come here. And she starts singing him the creepy song. That's right. Better, isn't it? The fire is hot. The orphans are made. Rest your pretty head. We both know what comes next when all the bad parents lay dead. Drink from Nanny. Wet your thirsty tongue. Drink from Nanny. Then we're free the young. I was like, what? And Beast and Angel just look at each other. Angel's like, wow. Beast's like, yeah. From there we jump to the healing gardens where you have Sage and Dr. Reyes who have come up with this medication that they're trying to give to Wild Child to try to get him stabilized. Just to get him to where he's not so freaking feral and psychotic. Well, when they arrive, he's just sleeping on the little cot there, and Dr. Reyes looks over to the side and notices that he's been digging, and he reaches down in this hole and she pulls out a handful of pills, and they realize real quick that he's off his meds. And that's when they realize they're both in trouble. So Sage takes off. She's sprinting out the back door. And she's yelling at Dr. Reyes, throw up a shield, and run. And that's exactly what they do, managing to get out of there just in time before Wild Child chews down on them. From there, we go to the beach, where John Greycrow, a.k.a. Scalphunter, is out there, sitting in a little chair, watching the sun go down, and cleaning his guns. And wouldn't you know it, you're just sitting there minding your own business, and then somebody comes from behind you, darn Morlock, starts yelling, found him. And next thing you know, you got like 6 Morlocks back there asking you, you know what day it is, John? He's like, of course I know what day it is. It's the day I cleaned my guns. Well, Callisto chimes in that and lets him know, hey, it's the anniversary of the mutant massacre. We didn't forget. And he just snaps the gun into place and says, romantic. And she points a knife and says, take him, Morlocks. Those who fall will be reborn. And they charge forward. And she seriously brought a knife to a gunfight. I mean, how well do you think this ended for the sewer babies here? I don't think it ends well. I'm just guessing. Well, it doesn't take long to find out, because next thing you know, he's standing in front of the Quiet Council and Storm is berating him. You attacked a defenseless group of Morlocks, victimizing them yet again. Haven't you caused them enough pain? And he just replies, guess not. I mean, this dude is quickly becoming one of my favorite characters. And now why I really like him on this is he doesn't take the time to explain himself. He doesn't make any excuses. He doesn't tell him, no, I was sitting on the beach cleaning my guns and I was attacked by like 6 of them. No, he doesn't say any of that. He just rolls with it. Back to the discussion on the council, Professor X is throwing out, look, this is kind of troubling. We've given these predatory mutants home here in paradise, and Magneto's like, yeah, we did, and we got to take responsibility. We got to find a place for them. We have to make a place for them. And Apocalypse agrees. He's like, look, that is the promise of Krakoa. And Sinister's like, whoa, hold up here. I'm gonna stop you right there. Who else is in the back? Don't be shy. Let's see who it is. And of course, it steps up and it's Havok. Well, apparently nobody took the time to tell Cyclops that his brother was going before the Quiet Council, including Jean didn't take the time to tell him. And this is the first he knew about it, and he is ticked. And Jean tries to explain, look, he put 3 humans in the hospital, Scott, 2 lost limbs, and 1's disfigured for life. Last I checked, the rule was kill no mutants, because, let's see, Iceman was snapping people's off, Gorgon just chopped everybody's arms off, but I guess, you know, when a Summers brother does it, now we got problems. But here's where the discussion gets interesting, because Nightcrawler makes the point that, look, he was gonna kill him. If Logan didn't stop him, that dude would have been dead. And Magneto makes the point that, like, look, and if that had been the case, if there had been a death, this wouldn't be a discussion. We would have no choice. He'd be exiled. Cyclops pipes up and says, look, and if that was the case, I wouldn't have a choice either. And this is where I have to disagree with Cyclops, because if dude breaks the law, he broke the law. It's just because he's a Summers doesn't mean he gets by with it. You know what I mean? You kill a human, you go in the pit. Your name is Summers, you kill a human, you still go in the pit. Anyways, it's at this point that Sinister pipes up and says, look, I know a little bit about being crazy. I think I might have a solution. And he says, look, these people aren't predators. They're square pegs straining heroically against round holes. And I think I can do something with them. The problem with Krakoa is that it is paradise, and that it doesn't challenge them. It doesn't give them what they need in order to be a productive member of society, I guess you could say. So instead, hand them over to me, and I can make them useful. Well, Sinister goes about the long way of getting there, and Apocalypse gets fed up with it and tells him, look, reach your point before violence occurs. And so Sinister makes his final pitch. The mutants have only known pain and suffering, except Havok. He has no excuses. They know quiet only in carnage, peace only in violence, tranquility only in insanity. If that's how they best express their gifts, their mutant gifts, isn't that mutation a birthright? Isn't the expression of that mutation a birthright? And Charles and Eric are sitting there like, yeah, you know what? It's not in Krakoan law, but it will be. And I think Sinister's got a good point. And Cyclops is like, what? Are you freaking kidding? You're listening to Sinister? And then Jean pipes in again and says, your objections are heard, Scott. I promise you, but the Quiet Council will decide how to proceed. It's like, dang. We're going to talk about this at the house, okay? And right after that, Storm dismisses him. It's like, yeah, now leave us so we can ponder Sinister's proposal. Well, the proposal goes forward and is deemed acceptable. However, they're going to put him in situations that minimize the possibility of human casualties. And they also understand that these guys are basically bulls in a china shop. And they understand that this isn't a tactical strike team. This is a absolute chaos destruction team. You don't send them in on a surgical strike. They're more like carpet bombing. From there we jump to Psylocke, and her and Cyclops are talking, and she has now been designated basically as the babysitter for the Hellions. And she's been selected because people know that if there's trouble, she knows exactly what to do and she won't hesitate to do it. But Cyclops has to check, he has to ask. He's like, look, if there's one situation, and if it's Alex, I'll trust that you will go easy on him. And she tells him, look, as much as I can be trusted, yes, I will. And with that, we jump over to Sinister trying to give a pep talk to the whole team and introducing Psylocke as the team's leader. So, and with that, they also have their first mission. They're heading to the Essex estate home for foundlings, which is where Cyclops and Havok grew up in pretty horrible place. But Mr. Sinister has a cloning facility here that they're going to take out, and the old Marauders, the Sinister's Marauders back in the day, minus Scalphunter, they're holed up there and they're refusing all Krakoan overtures basically to come home. Well, Psylocke makes it clear, like, look, you are not allowed to engage in the field unless I give the order. Is that understood? Well, Wildchild's got a problem with that, and he starts growling. And Scalphunter tells him, look, this one's wild. He ain't listening unless you go and dominate him physically. This could be a problem. And Psylocke tells him, look, it ain't going to be a problem. And then we have Havok, who is sitting there talking to himself, saying, look, I swore I'd only ever go back to that orphanage to burn it to the ground, so I guess this works. Then we also get Scalphunter telling Empath, if I so much as think that you're using your powers against anyone on this team, I'm going to put a bullet right between your eyes. You understand? And Empath just smirks at him and says, yeah, sure, understood. Well, Wildchild starts to get all grumpy, starts growling and everything. Havok looks back over his shoulder like, what is going on? And Scalphunter puts his hand on his shoulder and says, look, I got it. Well, Wildchild ain't cool with it. He turned around and just slashes him across the chest. Well, Scalphunter ain't playing. He grabs him by the head and just slams him face first in the concrete. And Havok's like, holy goodness. And Psylocke's like, what? Healing factors, they'll be fine. And Havok looks back at her and says, yeah, sure. But let me ask you this. How'd you get roped into this? And Psylocke just stares at him like, just blank expression, nothing. And he's like, Alex like, okay. Well, in the meantime, Scalphunter's throwing Wildchild and saying, man, get on the plane now. And as the rest of the team leaves, Quanon says, look, what's going on here? You're not telling me something about the orphanage. And Sinister just laughs it off and says, oh, that's what makes it so much fun. But trust me that you're all in for a very fraught adventure. Super unpleasant. Oh, but here you are with no choice but to go. I'll rest assured you haven't forgotten that. Now, be a dear and walk into hell for me. From there we go to a shot of the Essex State Home for Foundlings, and down in the basement of this place we find a bunch of individuals hung up being bled, and we find out that the individual that is doing it is the Goblin Queen, Madeline Pryor, and hung up above her is the old school Marauders being just bled. Absolutely insane. So going to be interesting to see where we're going forward with this. So this book does leave a whole lot of questions that need to be answered, such as Krakoan inconsistencies in enforcing their laws. Like I said, Iceman was snapping people's arms off, and Bishop actually had to talk him down and tell him to stop back over in Marauders. Gorgon went upstairs during issue 4 of X-Men and chopped everybody on that strike team's arms off and left them laying there in their own blood. Kitty Pryde over in Marauders #1 took a rifle and phased it into these two dudes' legs, into their, like, where their femur's at. And I mean, if they didn't kill them, it's amazing, but at a minimum, they're gonna be crippled for the rest of their life. So where is that line? You can't say that because Havok blew some arms off and singed some guy's face that now he's a war criminal basically, and he needs to be on this special hit team and he can't be trusted. Seemed like a bit of overkill to me and a whole lot of inconsistent. Not only that, but they were about to kill Havok, right? They were about to kill him on the spot. They just got hit with a rocket and Nightcrawler was out for the count. So why can't they defend themselves to the point that it's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous, this the do not kill point. When it reaches the point of they are trying to kill you, you don't, I don't know, what do I know? Kill them back. At that point it's a war, not a game, so do what you have to do. Best part of this book is Scalphunter handling the Morlocks. I'm sorry, but that was great. I'm sure that Madeline Pryor going forward is going to have a huge impact on this Ten of Swords storyline coming forward, that it's going to somehow fold into that, though I think only one issue of Hellions appears in that 15-part series. Anyways, guys, I hope you're having a good day. Make sure you hit that subscribe button if you haven't yet. Leave a like. You can check out my Patreon if you're interested in supporting the channel. And guys, stay safe out there. That's all I got. Gotta roll. Real Comic Stacks. Out.